I'm here to talk about a topic that many of us are tired of hearing about, and that's coronavirus. But I'm here to talk about it in a little bit of a different light. I'm here to talk about recovery. There are so many questions about COVID that go unanswered. If I am infected, how is it going to impact me? What is my recovery going to look like? My neighbor down the street had it and they were fine a day after. But then my friend on the other block basically had it for weeks and they're still experiencing symptoms. The big thing about recovery from COVID is it's going to be different for every single person. And that's the hard part about it. We never really know how it's going to impact somebody. It's been shown that even with mild cases of COVID, you can have lingering deficits. We're considering these people long haulers. That's the term that has been put to it. And we never really know who that person's going to be. We don't know how the body's going to be impacted. We do know that possibly having these pre-existing conditions may impact you negatively, but there have been cases of perfectly healthy people also being just as sick. Now, the big thing with COVID rehab, like I've already said, is it's extremely individualized. There have been guidelines that have been published that basically say, hey, you know what, like these are your recommended times to return to activity. So for somebody who's asymptomatic, wait 10 days after your positive test. For somebody who has mild symptoms, wait 10 days, but we want you to be completely symptom-free. If you have a moderate case, we want you to wait 10 days after your positive test, and then we want you to wait another 10 days after your negative test, and if you're still experiencing symptoms, continue to wait. Now, there's reasons behind this, and that is where a PT and other healthcare providers can step in. I'm just going to note that if we look at 2003, when SARS kind of was circling around us, it had actually been recommended that after your return to activity, you be followed by a medical professional for 3 to 6 months. And that's because they wanted to make sure there were no adverse effects of the virus in the long term. And unfortunately with COVID, we're seeing more and more that individuals are having long-lasting, we obviously know the impacts on the pulmonary system, but also cardiovascular impacts. People are having long-term heart health effects, which we won't know until we may not necessarily know until somebody starts to return to activity. And that's where people like myself, John and Justin, as physical therapists can really step in to aid your recovery, but also to kind of monitor and prevent and to kind of look for anything that may be going awry in the recovery process for you. With that being said, like I've already noted, you have to remember, you need to take things slow. Things are going to be individualized. Your personal recovery is going to be different. Just because the guidelines say, hey, you know what, I'm asymptomatic 10 days after I can go and start exercising, that doesn't mean jump right into what you were doing previously. Take it easy and take it slow. It's those are kind of two of the most important things. Easy and slow, because we need to make sure body is ready to do these said things. There's certain ways to monitor kind of yourself post-COVID. You need somebody monitoring, hey, you know what does your heart rate look like? What does your recovery look like? How are you feeling? How's your stress level? If somebody's not asking you these things, we may need to kind of get somebody to be doing so, and you need to make sure you're doing it yourself. The big thing, like I've already said, is we need to make sure you're healthy. We need to make sure things go well. Physical therapists are here to look at your function. When we talk about recovery, we're not just talking about recovery from symptoms. We're actually talking about you getting back to doing what you love fully. And that's the most important part. Physical therapists are working with people in the hospitals who have severe cases of COVID to do things like turn over in bed and stand up out of bed and get back to function. But we're also doing similar things with people on the long term. We've had clients come into the clinic who say, hey, standing up from a chair, I just get completely exhausted, or standing at the kitchen sink, I feel so tired for just standing for a period of time. So what does that say? We see people having similar kind of deficits in the long term, even if they've only had mild cases. And we need to make sure that you can get back to doing everything you need to do. Get you back to function, get you back to running, get you back to jumping, get you back to playing sports. And like we've said, it doesn't matter the severity of the case because we may see similar deficits along a spectrum. So guys, have your PT step in. let them look at your strength deficits, let them look at your endurance, let them look at your function, let them help you monitor your cardiovascular kind of system, let them help monitor your breathing, let them help you work on your breathing exchange. These are all things we're well versed in. We go to school, we learn about cardiopulmonary, we learn about neuromuscular function, which we've seen might be impacted. We learn about the musculoskeletal system, which we know that muscle weakness and joint pain and general deconditioning are things that are seen with COVID regularly. So why not include your PT as part of your care team? I think it's an awesome idea. And we really want to help kind of everybody get back to what they want to do in a manner that's right for them. You know, if we kind of look at what John, Justin, and I are doing here at Feldman, with our COVID patients, or even with our general patients, we're monitoring them to kind of say, hey, you know what, like we may see something that's gonna pop up, whether it be illness or whether it be, injury, a possibility of injury, by doing things like using, like John, Justin, and I all have watches, wearable technology that, has been proven to kind of say, hey, you know what, you may have an active infection, or after your infection, you're working too hard too fast. We're looking at your resting heart rate. We're looking at your, your heart rate during activity. We are looking at your recovery. We are looking at your stress levels. Yeah, this little thing does all of that. So let us help guide you in your recovery a little bit more. We love to help. We love to talk about this type of stuff because it's evolving on a daily basis, and there's so much we're learning that we love to share with you. So are you recovering and you have questions, please feel free to let us know, or please feel free to ask us. We, as I already said, love to share our information. So guys, take your recovery easy if you have had COVID, and also stay safe, stay well, mask up, and enjoy your holidays.